They say real men don't talk. I say they just haven't been asked the right questions. This ain't about trends. It's about truth, about faith that don't fold, love that costs something, and manhood that still means something. I'm not here to argue. I'm here to build. This is the Always Up Podcast, Season 2, Too Real to Win. For the men still trying to love right in a world that loves wrong. David and Elise were the couple people rooted for. Not because they were perfect, not because they were flashy, but because they had that quiet, steady thing. The kind you only see in two people who grew up trying to make life make sense at the same time. They met young, drifted apart, dated other people, collected a few scars and a few stories, came back to each other with a little more wisdom than they had the first time. So when they finally chose each other, it felt like clarity. They built the life you were supposed to build. A home filled with warm light, careers that paid enough to breathe, kids who made the house feel bigger than the mortgage ever could. They did all the right things, the steps, the traditions, the blueprint passed down from generations that meant well, but never questioned anything. And for a while, it worked. Until life introduced something no vows prepare you for. Change. Not dramatic change, not scandal. Just growth that happened in different directions at the same speed. Somewhere along the way, David and Elise reached the truth most couples never admit. They didn't lose the spark. They just forgot where they put the matches. Elise started becoming who she always wanted to be. David started becoming who he never realized he needed to be. And in that evolution, they forgot how to update the connection that once came easy. They still respected each other, still loved each other, still wanted the best for each other. But the alignment that once felt natural now required translation. And this is where their story meets the truth Timothy Keller wrote about. Marriage is meant to shape you, but most people enter it hoping it will protect them from the parts they have not shaped yet. David and Elise weren't failing. They were evolving. And the ceremony they trusted could not keep up with who they were becoming. Here is the part that brings the quiet into the room. They were fighting the weight of a system, not the weight of each other. A world that rewards distraction. A world that glorifies options. A world that celebrates independence but whispers about loneliness. A world that teaches you how to fall in love, but never how to stay aligned. You can love someone deeply and still lose sight of the partnership. Because love is divine, but the systems around love are man-made, and man-made things crack under pressure. David and Elise did not stop choosing each other. They just started choosing everything else, thinking love would wait. And in one of those quiet evenings, sitting across the table with nothing left to pretend about, a single truth surfaced. God created partnership. Society created paperwork. Most of us confuse the two. Not out of ignorance, not out of malice, but out of habit. We follow the script we're handed. We call it maturity, we call it legacy, we call it love. But deep down, many people are asking the same question David and Elise faced. Did we build a partnership or just follow instructions? And that's where our episode begins. The world David and Elise were trying to love each other in is not the world their parents survived. Commitment used to be a direction. Now it is a decision you have to remake every day while the world hands you reasons not to. Look around. We live in a culture where temptation is not a person. It is an algorithm. It studies your patterns, learns your preferences, and offers you options before you ask for them. We call it freedom. But for most people, it is just distraction dressed as choice. Partnership got harder when comparison got easier. David and Elise were trying to build something steady in a world that worships what is trending. Marriage used to be a home. Now it is a stage. And most people are performing for an audience that will never show up when the real work begins. This generation grew up with more information than intimacy, more stimulation than stability, more opinions than wisdom. And somewhere in that noise, the blueprint became blurry. Men want to do the right thing. But the definition of right keeps shifting. Women want security, but security looks different now when everyone is chasing possibility. We like to blame people, but the environment matters more than ego. The truth is simple. Most couples are not fighting each other. They are fighting the pressure around them. Lifestyle inflation, social media illusions, endless escapism, quiet loneliness covered by loud independence, and a culture that teaches you to prioritize your image over your intimacy. We are living in a generation where everyone is connected and almost nobody feels chosen. And here's the part nobody says out loud. Marriage did not get weaker. The world got louder. The expectations multiplied, the examples disappeared, the support systems thinned out, and the distractions industrialized. David and Elise were not unprepared. They were overwhelmed, trying to build something sacred in a world that celebrates what is temporary. This is the culture. This is the battlefield. This is why commitment feels heavier than it used to. The question is not, is marriage a scam? The question is, can the blueprint survive a generation that thinks commitment should come without cost? There's a difference between what shapes you and what saves you. David and Elise walked into marriage hoping it would do both. Most people do. We tell ourselves, when I commit, I'll become who I'm supposed to be. But Keller said something else entirely in his book, The Meaning of Marriage. Marriage does not create character. It reveals it, and then forces you to decide who you want to become. That's the part nobody puts in the caption under their engagement photo. Most people do not fall out of love. They fall out of identity. They merge before they mature. They commit before they understand the cost of commitment. Alignment is not a ceremony. Alignment is a decision you make before the ceremony ever matters. And here's the quiet truth that hurts the loudest hearts. If you do not know who you are, you will always misread who you chose. Partnership requires clarity, but most people walk into it hoping their partner will be the clarity. David needed direction. Elise needed grounding. Neither of them knew how to say it without feeling like they were breaking the covenant. Because somewhere along the way, love became performance. Not presence, not honesty, just performance. You start acting like the version of yourself that makes the other person feel safe. You hide the parts that aren't fully healed. You shrink the parts that feel too complicated. You stretch the parts that look good on paper. You edit, you package, you maintain, until one day the performance gets heavy and the mask cracks before the marriage does. And this is where the question becomes real. Is marriage a scam? Or is the lie the version of yourself you brought into it? Keller also said, marriage is a covenant that shapes the soul, but a covenant only works when the soul is willing to be shaped. Partnership is not supposed to fix you. It is supposed to reveal what you must fix, quietly, slowly, patiently. Love can stretch you, but it cannot rescue the parts of you you refuse to meet. So before we ask if marriage is broken, I think we have to ask something else. Am I building with truth or building with fear? Because David and Elise were not lost. They were layered. Life added weight on top of weight, expectations on top of expectations, roles on top of roles, and somewhere in all of that, the original version of themselves got buried under who they thought they needed to be. Partnership needs identity, commitment needs purpose, and love needs room to breathe. Otherwise, you are not building a marriage. You are building a promise both people are too tired to keep. There's a moment in every relationship where the volume of the world gets so loud, you forget to hear yourself. David and Elise reached that moment long before they admitted it. The late night questions, the quiet driving, the conversations that sounded full but said nothing, the smiles that felt practiced, the responsibilities that kept them moving even when the connection wasn't. And that is where reflection becomes real, because it is easy to ask, is marriage a scam? But the harder question, the honest one, the one you whisper when nobody is asking for strength, is this: who was I becoming while I was trying to love somebody else? Most people never ask that. They assume alignment is automatic. They assume love will fill in the gaps. They assume commitment cures confusion. But the truth is gentler and heavier at the same time. You cannot build a partnership if you are avoiding the parts of yourself that need rebuilding. David loved deeply. Elise cared honestly. But both of them were outgrowing versions of themselves they had never learned how to let go of. That is the part we forget. Growing together requires growing individually. Otherwise, the relationship becomes a place you hide instead of a place you heal. It is not failure to evolve. It is failure to evolve silently. Love does not die from conflict. It dies from silence. Silence about who you are. Silence about what you feel. Silence about what you need. Silence about what changed. Reflection is not about blame. It is about awareness. The kind that stops you in the middle of your living room and makes you admit, I never lost love. I just lost myself for a while. And that honesty is what reveals the truth beneath every partnership. You cannot hold someone's heart if you keep dropping your own. This is where David and Elise's story becomes more than a story. It becomes a mirror. Because every person listening has been in that quiet place, that in-between place, that moment when the picture still looks whole, but the inside feels rearranged. And whether you are married, single, separated, or rebuilding, the reflection is the same. Love yourself first, not as protection, as preparation. Reset moments come quiet, not dramatic, not loud, not cinematic, just a soft internal nod that says, this is what I've been avoiding, and I'm done avoiding it. For David, the reset wasn't a decision. It was a realization, the kind that doesn't arrive with fireworks, just clarity. He finally admitted something most people never say out loud. I don't want the performance. I want the partnership. And maybe I need to relearn what partnership really is. Resetting isn't about walking away. It is about walking back to yourself with honesty. Because every relationship has two versions. The one built on what you hope the other person would be, and the one built on what you are finally ready to become. A reset is the moment you stop negotiating with the version of yourself that keeps losing. David wasn't choosing freedom. He was choosing alignment, choosing to stop bending himself into shapes meant to impress, soothe, or rescue. That is the quiet shift most adults never make. You stop performing for peace. You start choosing yourself with clarity. And this is where the reset becomes universal. Love is not a scam. Marriage is not a scam. But pretending you are ready when you are still building yourself, that is. Partnership works when purpose works. Commitment works when identity works. And connection works when truth is not negotiable. Elise had a reset too. The moment she realized she had been carrying expectations heavier than her own voice. She wanted safety. She wanted growth. But she also wanted space to become someone she was still figuring out. They weren't breaking up. They were breaking character. And that is the most honest reset of all. Because the truth is simple. Two people can love each other and still need to grow separately before they grow together. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. This is humility. This is adulthood finally speaking louder than fear. Resetting doesn't erase the story. It rewrites the next chapter. Closure does not always come in a whisper. Sometimes it walks in with its shoes on. David and Elise didn't reach an ending. They reached an understanding. Two people finally honest enough to stop pretending their silence was noble. This is the part nobody teaches. Peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is the presence of clarity. And clarity changes your posture. Your voice drops. Your breathing slows. Your spirit stands up straighter than your body does. You start realizing the truth is not something you fight for. It is something you let sit in the room with you. They weren't choosing ego. They were choosing alignment. They were choosing the version of themselves that could tell the truth without shaking. And here's the quiet wisdom most adults never reach. Love lasts longer when you stop asking it to lie for you. Because God does not bless a performance. He blesses the courage to finally be real. David and Elise didn't fail. They evolved. And sometimes evolution looks like two people standing still long enough to hear what their hearts have been trying to say. It takes maturity to love somebody. It takes more maturity to love them truthfully. And the moment you can do that, you stop breaking. You start becoming. A relationship only falls apart when the people inside it refuse to grow. A relationship only heals when they finally do. This was not a goodbye. This was a beginning with the lights on. So Brian, is marriage a scam? Yep. But stay with me. It's not what you think. People get mad when I say that, but tell the truth. Half of us only believe in marriage because somebody older than us threatened to judge us if we didn't. Let's be honest. Marriage is the only contract where you sign your name on a document written by strangers and then get blamed when the script doesn't fit your life. You don't get an instruction manual. You get opinions. You don't get clarity. You get pressure. You don't get partnership. You get a performance evaluation every holiday. My personal take, love is real. But marriage feels like a group project where only 2 people showed up and everybody else still wants credit. Most of us didn't fall in love. We fell into tradition. We took the same vows our grandparents said, but tried to live them in a world that doesn't even believe in phone calls. And here's the cold truth. Nothing built on silence and pretending will survive honesty. Most people aren't breaking vows. They're breaking character. They're finally telling the truth about the person they became while everybody was clapping for the performance. The scam isn't the love. It's the expectation that you're supposed to stay the same person for the rest of your life while calling it maturity. Marriage didn't fall apart. The world did. And marriage never updated the software. That's the setup. And next time, we're not talking about commitment. We're talking about the consequence. What happens when a world built on independence starts telling women they don't need men at all? Thanks for listening. If this episode hit home, share it with somebody who needs to hear it. This season, Too Real to Win, is for the men still trying to love right in a world that loves wrong. No clout, no gimmicks, just truth. I'm Brian B. Turner, and this is the Always Up podcast. Until next time, stay focused, stay faithful, and always up.